looking at some of those lessons. Today, I kind of wanted to look at Holy Week, because why not? So, let's have at it. True or false, the crowds on Palm Sunday were the same ones on Good Friday? We don't know. Yeah, who was there? You're going to hear me talk about that in a little bit, but maybe. That would be disappointing, I guess, right? But, yeah. 2, on Monday, Jesus cursed the fig tree to teach us how to pray. Do you guys know a lot about the fig tree? We'll talk about that. 3, on Wednesday, we skipped Tuesday. It's called Busy Tuesday. A lot of teaching, basically Matthew 21 through like 26. A lot of parables. Wonderful chunk of scripture. I could do a whole sermon series on Busy Tuesday, but yeah, it's just, I'm not skipping Tuesday, just so you know. 3, on Wednesday, Judas planned the betrayal of Jesus. That happened, yeah. They actually call it Spy Tuesday. I didn't make this up. If you go online, that's what some of the historical churches call it, is Spy Tuesday. All right. 4, Jesus celebrated Passover, not the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We'll talk about that. 5, Monday, Thursday is named for the sadness of betrayal. Involves Latin. Well, you guys, okay, well, we had a lot. This is going to be great. I'm excited for this. Did Palm Sunday and Good Friday have the same crowds? You saw that picture? Clearly those two AI pictures are different because they're wearing different clothes, right? There was one author who said that if you look, what was the historical event that happened every year on Passover, on Friday, that the Jews cried for this guy's name? Barabbas, because Pilate had made it a tradition that during the Passover, he would release a prisoner. So people showed up not necessarily because they hated Jesus, but because this was kind of a political football an event that they did. Hey, the governor's going to go release a prisoner. Let's go see who he does. So some people call this a political crowd versus the one on Palm Sunday that actually was there to welcome Jesus in. So some people see this as two different crowds. We don't know, obviously, who was there. That was an interesting comment on it as to why it would have been a little bit different clientele. Those calling for Jesus' death versus cheering him as king. All right, 2. We get a bunch of information on this fig tree. Why did Jesus curse the tree? This is Mark 11.
The next day, as they were leaving Bethany, Jesus was hungry. Seeing in the distance a fig tree in leaf, he went to find out if it had any fruit. When he reached it, he found nothing but leaves, because it was not the season for figs. Then he said to the tree,
"May no one ever eat fruit from you again."
And his disciples heard him say it.
Kind of interesting. Now this is Monday, by the way, if you're wondering, if you're keeping score at home. This is Monday. Jesus walks in and he sees this and he curses it. And as we're doing the timeline, then he goes into the temple courts in Jerusalem on Busy Monday. Busy Monday. They call it Holy Monday. Every day is holy because it's Holy Week when you read online. I don't know what you call it. He cleansed the temple, flips over money changer. We talked about that. I don't know if it's week 2 in Lent. So that's what happens right after this. But let's go a little bit deeper into the whole fig tree shtick. This is Luke 13.
Then he told this parable. A man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he went to look for fruit on it, but did not find any. So he said to the man who took care of the vineyard, "For 3 years now I've been coming to look for fruit on this fig tree and haven't found any. Cut it down. Why should it use up the soil?" "Sir," the man replied, "leave it alone for 1 more year, and I'll dig around it and fertilize it. If it bears fruit next year, fine. If not, then cut it down."
That fig tree's out of time, isn't it? This is a very stern warning of judgment. In the words of the kids, your God doesn't play. He means what he says. And so one of the videos I did earlier in Lent was, is Jesus nice? It was interesting seeing the comments come back in. Is your God nice? He's God. He's holy. Does he forgive sin? Yes. Does he also punish sinners? Are there consequences for sin in this world? There are. And there's a limit to his patience as well. And so it can be a terrible thing to fall into the hands of the living God. So, this is Matthew 21, when he does talk about prayer.
When the disciples saw this, they were amazed.
How did the fig tree wither so quickly?
They asked. Jesus replied,
I tell you the truth. If you have faith and do not doubt, not only can you do what was done to the fig tree, but also you can say to this mountain, Go, throw yourself into the sea, and it will be done. If you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer.
This is almost a drastic change in topic, is it not? Yeah, he's talking about prayer. It's fine. It's good. This is Tuesday now, if you're keeping track. This is Matthew 21. He's going back in on Tuesday now, when he has Busy Tuesday, and he talks to all kinds of people. The authorities challenge him. He slams them over and over again, and then they give up. It's really good. If you haven't read Matthew 21 through 25 in a while, it's well worth your time. But on this topic of prayer, one of my least favorite sayings in the Bible Belt when you talk to the Christians around you, they're wonderful people by and large, is if you really believe. If you really believe, meaning if you just kind of believe, what if I sort of believe? Well, again, you heard me say that the most important part about your belief is the object of your belief. Will Jesus ever let you down? No. Now, what's really important on all of these discussions is, what does your God promise you? Did he ever promise you that you could tell a mountain to be uprooted and be thrown into the sea? He never made that promise. Could you if he did? Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's apply it. Pastor Fred gets stricken with cancer. My body's full of it. It is metastasized. I go into the hospital and they offer me this program of treatment, and that's fine. And my very well-meaning Baptist friend comes up to me and says, Pastor Fred, if you really believe, God will cure you of your cancer. Does he mean to cause any harm? Guess what happens if Pastor Fred dies? Does that mean that I didn't believe hard enough? No. God was using that cancer to call me home to glory. He never promised to cure me of cancer. I don't know how to break it to you, but unless Jesus comes early, you're all going to die. So, let's be careful with how we sling around if you really believe. This is what I would just say with prayer. God hears your prayer and answers it. But when I would pray, if Pastor Fred's full of cancer, Lord, cleanse me of my cancer, he says, no. I'm going to call you home through. That's okay. God wins a victory if I go to heaven. So do I. Okay? Any questions on that? Next, we're on Spy Wednesday. When did Judas make his plans? This is Matthew 26.
Then one of the 12, the one called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and asked,
What are you willing to give me if I hand him over to you?
So they counted out for him 30 silver coins. From then on, Judas watched for an opportunity to hand him over.
This all escalates quickly. Jesus comes in on Sunday. Monday, he flips over the tables. Tuesday, he comes back, and it's on. They are just attacking him left and right. He parries perfectly. Again, that's why part of Matthew 22, 23 are really good reading. You see Jesus just slam these ridiculous arguments they bring against him. But on Wednesday, Judas agrees to betray him. We already talked about Judas at length. So, yeah, that was probably Wednesday. 4, how was this glorious? This is the passage that I referenced. This is John 12. For the joy set before him. How is this good or glorious?
Now my heart is troubled. And what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour? No. It was for this very reason I came to this hour. Father, glorify your name.
Then a voice came from heaven.
I have glorified it, and will glorify it again.
The crowd that was there and heard it said it had thundered. Others said an angel had spoken to him.
Yeah. This whole process that we call Holy Week and the Passion of our Lord is glorious. Even though you want to look away in horror because it's not pretty to watch. This is God making good in his promise, God dying for the sins of the world. That was probably Wednesday too, by the way, since we're doing time. Number 5, we're on Thursday. Why wash the disciples' feet? John 13.
He poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him,
Lord, are you going to wash my feet?
Jesus replied,
You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand.
Who got the job for washing feet? Well, let me back up. What did feet look like? Did they wear hiking boots in the ancient world? Talk to me about sandals. This was shoe leather, maybe, if not wood. Who knows, that they walked on and they kind of strapped the leather thong around their foot. It was not that great. And if you're walking on the road, do you know what else walked on the road? Animals, horses, donkeys. Now, I walk my dog, and he marks his territory. Have you ever seen a horse mark his territory? But I'm trying to tell you, what did the feet look like when you arrived at your destination after walking for 8 hours? Disgusting. So, you got this party, right? Who volunteers to wash feet? Jesus does. And the disciples are like, whoa, this is bad. Well, nobody else did. He's showing them servant leadership. This is what you do. None of you are better than the others. There are some churches that practice ceremonial foot washing. We haven't gotten into that. I think we can just understand the purpose behind it without actually having to wash the feet. I think you can accomplish that. You can think abstractly, right? I think it's good. So, yeah, that was the whole washing of the feet. 6, let's get into Maundy Thursday, John 13.
A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this all men will know that you are my disciples if you love one another.
Do you guys know what Maundy Thursday means? Anybody? Maundy is from the Latin, really? Mandatum, meaning command. It is, so Maundy Thursday is named after the command. Love one another. Now what's new about this? What's new about this is the very next phrase. As I have loved you, this is different, crazy, and weird, so you must love one another. That's the difference. Sacrificial, God-like love. No one's ever seen it before because I'm doing it for the first time. God dies for the world that hated him. That's the kind of love that Christians show. And it is a little bit different than anywhere else. And it's pretty awesome, too. God frees us. We don't need to take revenge. We don't need to hate. We don't need to do any of that. God frees me to love people in Jesus. And that's what makes my life great. And yours, too. Any questions at that point? It's kind of a deep one. Any other questions? There's so much that I left unsaid, but, I mean, I could write a book. There have been books written. I don't need to. Say this very with me. This Holy Week, help me to focus my attention on Jesus and the sacrifice he made for me. There are no other announcements. May God give you all a blessed week.
You gotta be here.